All right, so I've had a couple different experiences with death over the last few months. We all probably have. Um, and it's really got me thinking, not so much about the specifics of any one loss. I mean, you know, those are all individual and unique to each situation. But, like, what's the same about all of these situations when we lose somebody? Um, how do we behave? And the fact that we all react and feel differently is an indication that what's really going on a lot of times is what we bring to it. A person passes away, that's a thing, and then we all interact with that differently. And that's what we bring to it, and our level of grief or remembrance or lack thereof. All of these things, all of the emotions we feel, um, they can tell us a lot about ourselves, and it can really be a learning moment about who we have been, who we are, and who we want to be. A couple of things I find fascinating: no matter the person, no matter the relationship, if it's someone that you knew and had experiences with, when they die, you remember all the good stuff. You don't remember the bad stuff. I mean, you can remember it, but you have to actively remember it. Reflexively, your mind goes to all the good occurrences. And I think that's really interesting. It doesn't do that when the person's there, but then when they're gone, it does. And second of all, there seems to be, no matter your persuasion, now some of us have ideas about life after death, and we have ideas about what happens to our soul and our spirit. So your reflections and thoughts in those situations are going to be dependent on that. But for those of us that don't, and I don't, fascinated by the way I still feel like it matters what happens to the person after they're dead, like what we do with their remains, or their, where they finished, like it's some kind of an event, and we want to have a good ending to it, like a story or a novel, and there's got to be an epilogue. Even though I don't really believe that there is one necessarily, there still felt like some importance to that. I think that's fascinating. And another thing, I think what the grieving or the sadness or the remembrance thing, I think a lot of it, what's about, is you're cementing things. Like, memory is pliable. Future events can affect the past, but when someone dies, all of those things become kind of cemented. They become solidified. You're not going to have opportunities to change things in the future. And that means the past is going to stay where it was, and that affects the present. And it's that kind of hardening that I think is what you feel. You feel like you're kind of retiring from active life to passive life, those memories, those experiences, and that person. We do that in grief with relationships or animals or other things, nostalgia-wise. And I don't know. These are just some thoughts I had. I really think it's important that you freely, without judgment, experience any emotion that you have in these kind of situations. Because the worst thing you can do is to judge yourself. You're going to feel how you feel. You do feel how you feel, and just go with that. Don't be harsh on yourself. Don't, whatever you're feeling is what you're feeling, and that's all okay. We're all people, and we're all bringing this stuff. It can be a learning opportunity. It's all part of what it's about to be alive, and it's all part of what having life being non-permanent. So, at any rate, some quiet thoughts on a sunny, at least here in Austin, Texas, Thursday afternoon.